Hey guys, my name is Arjit and welcome to a session with Quant Gnosis Diary. In this session is basically just a follow-up from one of our previous videos where we discussed about how to get data in Excel from the new NSE website. In this session, so what we are going to do, we are going to focus on something specific. We are going to focus on getting the future and options data live in the Excels and how to refresh that data. Okay, so let's just get started. So first, for the how to get the data from the new NSE website, for this we'll be using our previous video, which is also has a link in the description section. If you click on it, it will redirect to the actual video on how to get the data. We'll follow the same steps that we did in that video to get the data, and we'll also discuss some of the common problems people posted in the comment sections. Okay, so first I'll go to the new NSE website, and then under market data I'll go to equity and SME market. Here I'll go to, I need the F4 data, so in the drop down I'll select securities and securities in F4. So this will give me a list of future and options data. So if I just click on this, it will give me a list of FNO data and their OHLC, and these data basically gets updated when there is actually in live market itself. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll follow the same step and get the cookies from this page first. So I'll refresh this, but clicking on this button I'll refresh the data and go to the second link, which has in the request sections. So under request headers there is something called cookie. So I'll copy this cookie again and go to my Excel and let's call it cookie data, and then I'll just paste the cookie here. Okay, and then let's just a bit of formatting, wrap the text. Okay, so I have the cookie data here. Now what I'm going to do is I select this to column and go to the data tab and click on from table or range. So what it will do, it will basically create this as a table, and I'll make sure that checkbox is checked, so this 2-column data is exported as data. And then what I'll do, I'll go and drill down inside to get to the actual cookie data. So this is the actual cookie data that we copied previously, right? And then what I'll do, I'll go to advanced editor. It will look like this if I go to advanced editor from the home. And what I am going to do, use the same code as we used in the previous video for cookie functions, and copy the first line of the cookie function here, and then paste it in the first line, and then we're going back, take the last 2 lines and paste it to look like this. So now that my cookie function is ready, so I'll just click on done and then expand this query tab and name it cookies. Okay, so this function will give me cookies. Then I'll do the same thing, I'll make a new query and then go to other source and use a blank query. So I'll create a blank query and let's name it get NSE data. Go back to the advanced editor and replace this code with the other code. So this I'll copy and then paste it here. Okay, so I have cookie data. Okay, so now I just need the URL. I'll go back here and in this place, so which one has the data? So this one has the data. This is JSON data that is needed to follow this procedure and copy the URL in this part, and I'll replace this with my new URL. Okay, and then that's it, done. So couple of steps that you guys are facing problem, you guys need to follow is, so when you say this message, you have to click on continue and set it ignore privacy level check. Okay, so if you later also if you get this warning prompt, you have to make sure you do this to avoid issues. So once that is done, I am seeing my data here, and then what I'll do, I'll basically remove some of the columns that I don't need. So I don't need column, this column, last price, change, quantity traded. This is also remove. Okay. So a lot of null values are coming. So what I'll do, I'll go back to the source and remove this part. Source data, converted data. Okay, so converted to table. From here I'll expand and use this. Okay, so I took that and then I'll format the data a bit. So symbol open high. So if you guys want, you can rename the column, right click on it, and then change the column name also. That can day low, last price. So OHLC. Previous course also is there, and then change and change percentage. So P change is basically percentage change. Then total traded volume, total traded value, last updated time. This one I don't need. Year high, year low. So this is 52 weeks high, 52 weeks low. Near okay, then 365 day ago. This one also I don't need. I'll remove this also and this also, because these are the data I don't need. Let's see what are the data. So there are some additional property are there, you can explore by expanding it by clicking on OK, and from this column, but for this video I'm not going to use that, so I'm just going to remove this column as well. So these are the basic data. If you want to apply some of the filter, let's say I want to see only the stocks that are above 50% or 100% from 52 weeks low. So yearly low, whatever the yearly low is there, they should be at least above 52%. So if you go here, click on this number filter, greater than equal to, and here type minus 50. So if the number is more than minus 50, then only this will come. Okay, so if you want to make a more strict, you want to only look at the stocks that are filter clear, so I'll just clear the filter and then go back and go to number filter, greater than. So let's say I'll say the stocks that are much higher, like let's say which are much more, which has recovered far better than the so which are actually lower than the nearest to the 52 week low. Okay, so I think we need to take it, remove clear filter. We actually have to use a greater than filter. Okay, so I want to exclude the data which are too low, so which is basically it will be less than equal to minus 50. Okay, I want to include only performing stocks and I'll want to remove the non-performing stock. Yeah, so this looks like a good list. Now what I'll do, close and load. Okay, so it will basically close and load to another window. If you want, you can format this data and Okay, so that's it. You have a live data. Now, coming to the some of the problems that you guys mentioned. Okay, so first problem is if you set the auto refresh. If you go to data tab and properties, so connection properties, if you go, there is an option for background refresh or refresh within some time. So what this will do, this will automatically try to get the data from the NSE website. But the problem is uh, this cannot be automated without using a refreshing the cookie data, because this code gets expired after X amount of time. Let's say there is half an hour is the time limit. After 15 minutes or half an hour, this data will expire. So that means you will need to get fresh cookie every time you want to have a data. So it's basically you have to go here in the website, click on here, refresh this, sorry, clear this tab, and then open, have this network tab open, clear it, and then you have to fetch the new cookie data from here again, the whole thing. So you have to repeat that process manually so that this authentication goes through. So that's one of the issue why if you have this settings enabled or background refresh by default, it might give you an pop-up with error that's saying that the connection has timed out or it's not able to refresh the data. So that's one issue. Second issue is some of you having some issue related to authentication. You have to make sure the authentication is anonymous. So for me, it did not give any prompt to make anonymous, right? So it automatically anonymous. But in case you have having problem this authentication method, you have to go to this Power Query window and go to this data source setting. From here you have to go to the connection API/equity, this one, the NSE India URL, and then you have to edit this permission. If you permission inside this credential sections, this will be type anonymous and privacy level should be none. This two must be there. So either, so check this if you're still getting an error, if your type is anonymous and privacy level is none or not. If it's not anonymous, click on edit button, go to anonymous, change it, save it, and then after saving close it, then do the same thing, close and load. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this, let's say our desktop, let's call it FO data sheet, save. So now I have FO data sheet ready here. Okay, so two problem, one is your refresh thingy, you have to make sure that it does not have the automated refresh, you have to manually copy the cookie. Obviously there is a possible way to get this automated if you can write a VB script, Visual Basic script, and write a macro, and from the macro if you are able to download the cookie and refresh this value, in that case it can be automated. In otherwise just manually you have to go here, refresh get a new cookie, paste it here, paste it with the new cookie. Let's say I refreshed it, so I'll go here with the new. So I have to take this cookie again and so I have to replace this with the new cookie value. So that's the only way of doing the refresh. Okay, so those are the problem that you guys are having, so it should fix that problem. Now this one more requirement was getting the historical data, like getting multiple days data in a single single file. Okay, so for that what you have to do, you have to go here, go under the market data, and then let's say security available for trading. Under this get market data, there are paid data sections also, but you don't need that. You go to daily market reports, it will come to all reports URL. Okay, from here there are multiple data sheets available. For most of these are basically end of the day data and not actual live data, so you have to download the file first. So what you have to do, you want to check a historical data, right? So go under historical data and you want to get a security wise archives for equities. and I'll go here. Okay, so you have to select that you want to price volume and deliverable position data. Okay, and then you have to select the period for the data you want to earn. If you want a custom date from to date data, you have to select it from this calendar. Um, choose the date you want to get the data from. So for this example, I'm going to just choose past 365 days and click on get data. I have to also enter the symbol. Let's say I'm going to enter TCS. Okay, and then from TCS data, this data I will download in CSV format. Okay, so once I have downloaded, I open the new sheet in this format, and then this will look like this. Okay, just raw data. So first thing you have to do is save it as XLSX. So change the CSV to XLSX. Okay, and let's call it TCS historical data. Okay, and I'll save it. Okay, so now I have the XLSX file open for the TCS data. Okay, so these data is date wise given, so from November. So what I'm going to do, first transform this date column to a actual date column. So I'm going to make it short date, and then select this column and going to sort by newest to oldest. Okay, so first data is for the 9th October, so which is latest data. So I'm taking the latest data at the top, and then what I'm going to do, make the header column ref it. Okay, so that it looks a little bit better. Okay, so this way basically you have to download the historical data, because you cannot this cannot be auto imported. Okay, because the data that is written in this page that you're seeing, this format is basically does not come in a JSON format. This data can also be automatically extracted, but that also require custom VB script to parse the HTML and extract the data into a table. Okay, so that's why we are going to just download it for the sake of it. Okay, now I have the data is downloaded here, and I have formatted it and sorted in order of the date. So with the latest data, now what are the things we can do with this? So that's about is on our next slide. So what we are going to do is we are going to show some of the basic things that you can do with Excel. So in arithmetic operations, you can do basic for operation is sum, division, subtractions and multiplications. Okay, so to get a sum of the data, let's say what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do subtraction, and what the subtraction will be, high minus low. So each of the day I'll get high minus low I want to have. So I make a header called H minus L, and in this first row, this first row is there, under H minus L I'll just type is equal to, and then select the high price, which is this, then I'll type minus and then select the low price. Okay, and I will hit the enter button. So this will give me, so difference, a subtraction of this high price and minus low price. So similarly, if you are trying to sum up two cell, you have to use the same. So type the is equal to sign, type the cell that you are trying to sum up, then add, instead of minus you will be doing plus or division or multiplication operator. Okay, so that's the basic operation you can do. So for this demo I am going to use subtraction and get the difference of high and low. Now this is giving only the difference of high and low for the first date. How do I get the other dates also? Simply this corner in the bottom right, select it and just drag it down. So this will basically copy the formula for the other cells for the entire data set. So I'll drag it down to bottom of this sheet and till the data is here, and leave this. So now what we have is, in this basically this column is giving me difference between high minus low. So that's a basic operation, right? So next one is I want to have a percentage. So I want to calculate a percentage from this data sheet. Now I have high minus low. So basically in a one day, what's the high price and what's the low price, that difference is there. I want to have percentage in respect to something. So percentage will be always in respect to something. So high minus low, this percentage will be, let's say I'll calculate how much percentage of the difference per day happened for the previous day's price. So I'll calculate a percentage of high low difference versus previous close. Okay, so I want to calculate how much high low differences happened based on previous close. So what I am going to do, I am going to again do the is equal to, select this column H minus low, and then type the division operator by, and I'll select the value for the previous close, which is this column. Okay, so I'll just select this, and so this will be giving me the ratio of high low difference and the previous day's close. Now all I have to do, go to this general, under this number, I have to format this cell with number formats. Go to select the percentage, select the number of decimal places you want, click on OK. So this will give you percentage calculation, and then we will do the same thing, basically drag the whole thing down to very bottom of this sheet. Okay, and so what now we have is percentage of daily movement. So how much percentage every day moved in terms of price. Okay, so if you are thinking about, so there should be next day how much percentage price can move, there should be always a minimum of and maximum. So you can also calculate minimum or maximum of it. So all you have to do, let's say I want to have a minimum, I want to get a minimum. So press is equal to, then type MIN, then press tab in the keyboard, and then select the first number and drag it down to the bottom again. Okay, so that's it. End the bracket and then click on enter. So this is the minimum. So minimum movement in TCS per day irrespective to previous days closing is 0.73. Now what I want to do is calculate the maximum. So what I'll just do instead this time, you can just follow the same procedure for maximum also, but I'll just copy this and then go to the next cell and paste this minimum. But now this time, instead of minimum, I'll remove the minimum and replace it with max, and press on tab. Okay, then click on enter, and this will give me max. So TCS maximum one day movement was 17% and minimum movement was 0.73% compared to previous day. So these are simple things that you can do with Excel, and there are some more other things. Two other important things are average and standard deviation. So average you already know, you know about moving average, you know about simple average, right? So average is basically sum of all this and into, let's say I call it mean, and this is max, and then next one is average. So I want to calculate average or the mean of all this price. So what I'll do, I'll go here and do the same thing, type is equal to, then press on average, and then once you see this average is selected in blue, press on tab and then select this first column and then drag it down to the bottom again. So all of this, the data set you are trying to do operation, you have to select the data set so that you can calculate the average on. Or you can just simply copy paste and just change the function name max min to average. Okay, so the average percentage of movement, daily movement happened on 2.89%. So now what does average denotes? Basically the maximum or maximum value and the minimum value. So the middle value is the average basically. So we got one more new metric called average. Now the final one, which a lot of people are not familiar with, is standard deviation. So standard deviation basically calculate how much price deviate from the average. So average is 2.89%, right? So how much, let's say current price is here. So this difference from here to medium, how much difference is there? So that is calculated based on the standard deviation. How much deviation from the middle? So if the current price was here, so how much difference from the middle to current? Or if it was here, so that deviations calculation is done by standard deviation. So there is actually a mathematical formula to calculate your standard deviation by squaring each of the differences and then sum up all the thing, then taking the, then divided by the total count and then taking a root square from that. So that's a formula is there, but fortunately in Excel when you are here there is a function for this. So I'll put the is equal to again and then we'll call STDEVP. So there is multiple variant of standard deviation is there, but we are going to use the STDEVP.p and select tab. You will have this STDEVP function, and in this case we are just going to close this bracket and just copy whatever is here, Q2 colon Q251, right? So here also we are going to use STDEV and Q2 colon Q251. Okay, so I am typing this instead of selecting with the mouse. Okay, and then click on enter. So this value will be standard deviation ratio. You can also convert this to a percentage by doing this mode number format, going to percentage and then decimal places keeping 2. So I have all this parameter right now. Now what I can do, I can see okay, so how I can highlight these columns which are above standard deviation or below standard deviations. Okay, so what I am going to do is select the entire column by clicking on the Q and then go to conditional formatting, go to highlight cell rule and then say greater than. So if it's greater than, okay, forget greater than. So I'll select conditional formatting and say less than. If price is less than, so just remove the number, autofill number and go to standard deviation. Select the standard deviation cell and click and change the color that you want. Click on OK. So it will highlight the cells that are below the standard deviation. The movement has been below the standard deviation. So what does normally it mean that price movement below standard deviation? Basically it has been a more of a consolidations in these days. Okay, the change between high and low is limited and so the range has been very narrow in these days. Consolidation happened. Okay, so now I am going to do calculate what are the days that has more than 2 standard deviations, which means the day which has bigger range or higher volatility. And so what I am going to do, which is greater than, and remove this and going to select this standard deviation and type the multiplication operator and 2. So 2 SDs, 2 standard deviation, and then I click on the green, let's say. So which means these are the days where price has movement more than the standard deviation. Okay, so the average standard deviation whatever was there, price movement has been more volatile and then daily price range has moved bigger than the normal. Okay, so that way we can use standard deviations and classify our data based on things that are there, the data. We can do more things, like you can see that deliverable quantity, right? I can check what is the maximum deliverable quantity, right? So instead of, so this was the Q column, I'll just change the min to let's say what I'm going to do is min up. So I'll not calculate the percentage, I'll change it the column type to number first. Okay, and then mean of, instead of Q2 to Q251, this deliverable quantity is N. So I'm going to change the Q to N and change the king to N to 51. Okay, so this will give me a minimum. So what I'm going to do is basically calculating the minimum deliverable quantity, and then I'll do the same thing basically for maximum also. Okay, so I'm going to change the Q to N, and then change this to, instead of percentage, just keep it number. So that's the maximum number, and then change the number this to, and the average of the deliverable quantity will be N2 to N251. Okay, so this is the average of deliverable quantity. Now what I'm going to do, go standard deviation as well and change this to N2 N251. So I'll just set it to number, and then calculate the standard deviation. Okay, now okay, just remove the standard deviation from here. What I'm going to do, I have the average, I'll just use the average, not the standard deviation in this case. So I have the average deliverable volume for this column, right? So I'll check which are the days which has above average. So if I see greater than and select on average and make them as green. Okay, so I'll click on this, okay, and these are the days the deliverable quantity is higher than the average deliverable quantity, which means if you are getting a bullish signal in these days, there's people are who are actually taking a positional in that cases. These are has higher deliverable quantity compared to the average. Okay, so these are some of the example of how you can convert your data with the basic operation of mean, max, average or standard deviation that we did for the differences as well. You can convert that to get give the data meaning in your eyes, right? So you will understand what the data will do. Okay, now we have shown some of the arithmetic operation. Let's do some charting. Okay, so what I am going to do, I am going to select couple of things. Let's say I'm going to select the date because, and I'm going to do open, high, low, previous close. Sorry, current close. Open, high, low, current close, and the date. All this if you select first, and then go to the insert tab in the Excel, and there is a button called recommended chart. If you click on this, you will get what other type of charts can be plotted. Okay, it will give you some all recommended chart that you can automatically, if you just click on this, you will see how it will look like. So open, high, low. If you go to all charts, you will have multiple options to convert this data to different type of chart. For this I'm going to do stock. So I have open, high, low, close, all of these data are there, right? So if I just select it, okay, and then it will automatically generate a chart based on the data. Now if you see this basically look like the one plotted in your charting software with the candlestick and all. Okay, but I'm going to delete this and show you something else. Okay, now instead of this, what I'm going to use date and only percentage of high, low versus previous close, these two column, and make a chart out of it. So what I'm going to use is make it a line chart and plot it against a date. This will look like this. So it's automatically plotting the chart, right, for me. So the chart, this is the x-axis, the time axis, and this is the percentage, how much percentage is changed. If you see this entire period of time that is plotted, this is basically taking the only 2019 for some reasons. Maybe there's not enough space. If we extend it further, yeah. So if you extend in the horizontal side, the other data is also visible now. Okay, if you see this percentage change that has happened over the time has been on average below 4%. Okay, and then the percentage actually some max of this zone is 6%. The price has been, in very rare occasion, price has moved above 6%. If you see this is March, some 13th March 20 and 20th March 20, the high low range percentage was highest in these 2 days. I'm guessing one of these days probably had a financial result day or something, but price has moved inside this range. So which means when you are looking at the next day, so one of the discussion I was having with one of my friend, with TCS having buyback, dividend, and result was pretty decent. So he was saying, what do you think where the price will open? Okay, so the price was previous day was 2700 plus something, and he was saying the buyback price is 3000. So will it open above 3000? So I asked him how much percentage is 3000 from the previous close. He said the percentage that is there, it is approximately 9-10%. So if you see, this 9-10% has happened in very rare occasion, only this particular rare occasions. And in general, 6 was approximately 4 to 6 was the reasonable price. And that's why I told him 3000 looks difficult and 2900 is more plausible. That's because the 2900 was coming around 6% maximum. So that price was coming around 4 to 6%. Also, that was based on calculation, basically using the average true range. So if you see this true range was coming around this 6% itself. So that's why the price on that day, after that result day, what was happened for TCS, it did not open on 2900 for sure, but it opened around 2800 something, and then it climbed back near to 2900 for the day high. That day high also it made around 2900. So 2885 was the day high, which you can see that was just simply interpretation of what the analysis I did from here. Just basic interpretation in the chart you can see. So in that way, if you see that the Excel has many possibilities, and you can discover more if you explore the knowledge of Excel. You can get more things done with your Excels. And so for this session, that will be all. Thank you all, and do please like the video and comment if you have any issues, and do recommend our channel to your friends. Thank you.